want consistent results, if you want to be able to ride that wave, you've got to consistently prospect. But prospecting is not a one-prong approach. Cold calling is your least effective method for prospecting. Now, certainly, you're going to go after some targeted accounts. So before you even start, you need to really ascertain who your ideal client is. What industry are they in? What size company is it? What is the geographic area? And who within the company is the best person for you to deal with? My recommendation is whenever you're prospecting, you want to go as high on the food chain as possible. If you need to be pushed down within the organization, that's okay to do your investigation. But when you're coming back to do the presentation, it's always got to be at the decision maker level. So find out who your ideal client is and go after them. You want to do a certain amount of prospecting, and that's a bit of the phone work. It's also a bit of knocking on doors and having an approach where you're going out to your existing client and you're going and visiting their neighbors and leveraging that appointment that you had. Or better yet, you've got some appointments on your calendar. Now when you're prospecting, you could say, I'm going out to one of my clients. Looks like I'm going to be there Thursday. Would you prefer meeting beforehand or afterwards? Or I'm going to be in your area this time or this time. And use your existing clients to be able to leverage those. The other great thing about prospecting is the whole networking piece. And the networking piece, to me, is the difference between a fisherman fishing with a pole and having a single hook on the end of their line. They could only catch one fish at a time. When you're properly using your networking, it's fishing with a net, where I could get a whole bunch of people within the net. So back in my days of selling payroll, my great referral sources or strategic referral sources are the CPAs. So was it easier for me to go out and find one client that could use our payroll service, or could I find a CPA that's going to refer 10 clients over to me? So the best way to get into a company, the most legitimate reason to give them a call is a referral. That's your best. If you're pure cold calling, you've got around a 20% chance of getting into a company. If you're using a referral, you've got a 70 to 80% chance of getting into a company. And it's not only going out to the networking functions, but it's also what you can do with your social networking. In these days, if you're in business and you're not on LinkedIn, you're missing a big piece of the puzzle. Facebook is a great way to get in touch with people as well as Twitter, but I find LinkedIn is an essential to business. So here, I know I want to get into a certain target company. Well, I could go on my LinkedIn, I could put in the company, I could find out if anybody in my network either works at that company or has connections to anybody at that company. Because even if I could get an introduction to somebody at the company, it's got my pinky in the door. And then it's a lot easier to get your entire foot in the door and the rest of you into the door after that. So with the prospecting, you want to make sure that you're not only using your cold calling, but you want to make sure you're using your network. And networking is not about going to an event once and expecting to walk out of there with a bunch of leads. Networking is a process. With the whole networking piece, you want to make sure that you're not only visiting these organizations once, you're going back time and time again. So when I go to the groups that I'm a part of, everyone knows me. And I'm constantly walking up to people and asking them one of the key questions. Who are you? What do you do? And who do you want to be connected to? And you've got to make sure that if someone asks you that same question, you have the direct answer. So networking is not about what you get from other people. It's all about what you could give to them. You want to become known as a connector. So if someone says, I love being introduced to attorneys, you want to take all those attorneys in your database and you want to be able to put them into a category and make some introductions. I'd love to be introduced to young entrepreneurs. Then you might want to focus on some entrepreneurial programs or meetings that you know there's a lot of people that they can meet that they want to be introduced to. So, best way to get referrals, number one best way, give them. Beyond everything else. Second, number two way to get referrals is to ask. So many times we in the selling process forget to ask. And it's not only asking for the referrals, but it's asking for the business.